Before we get to step 5, there's a preliminary exercise that I get the kids to do. And that is I get them to stand up nice and straight, nice and tall, using really good posture, and then hold their arms out straight sideways, and then just let them drop. The arms will come down and slap into the side of their legs. Now, that is not a particularly effective way to throw a pitch, trying to throw the ball right through your leg. So what we have to do is figure out some way to allow the arm to pass in front of the body without hitting it. So what I do next is have the kids fold their hands in front of their bodies, then bring them out, and then let them drop, and they pass very freely in front of the body. Now, there's two things going on here that are important in pitching. And one is that the shoulders, when you cross your hands in front of your body, the shoulders roll forward slightly. And that little bit of forward motion is enough to create the space you need to get the ball past your hip while still keeping the ball on top of the power line as it needs to do. The other thing is, this is the very first step in training the kids with their arms to be very, very relaxed. If they can just hold their arms out and then just let them fall and fall naturally, that is a very, very good first step to being able to pitch. Step 5 is called the elbow whip. And the elbow whip is very important in throwing fast pitch. At the younger ages, the kids with good elbow whip generally perform much better than those who do not have the good elbow whip. It's one of the factors that separates the really good pitchers from the good enough pitchers. At the older ages, the kids that do not have a good elbow whip usually don't continue pitching past about 14U. So what we're doing in this step is that we stand just like at the beginning of step 1, so that your hips are kind of at a 45-degree angle. Take your right hand and your right arm and put it down in front of your right leg. It can't be off to the side. It's got to be in the front. Twist the palm of the hand so it's facing home plate. Because if you have a ball in your hand, that's the way you're going to want to be throwing it. Now you can take your left hand and put it just above your elbow, just to hold your right arm in place. Okay, now at this point, what you do is you want to reach back with your right arm and shake hands with someone who is standing in the direction of second base. You'll notice that as your arm goes back, as your forearm goes back, your hand opens up and is now facing towards third base. It's a natural action in your elbow that makes that happen, and it's part of a good pitch. At this point, what we do is we bring the arm down until its starting point, and then continue the forearm until it's parallel to the ground, and then you let go of your right arm with your left hand and allow the elbow to come up so that your upper arm is now parallel with the ground. As you're doing this little step, make sure that you keep all of your weight above your right knee the entire time. We're not doing any weight transfer. All we're doing is we're focusing just on the elbow whip. As the student becomes comfortable with doing that, increase the speed with which the whip is happening, and keep on increasing it until she is doing it as quickly as she can without losing control of her arm. Now, since the hips are at a 45-degree angle and the forearm is going straight back, some kids have mentioned that they feel a little stress in their upper arm. If that happens, allow them to take their hips and put them in the fully open position, and then you can go back and there won't be any stress there. One of the key observation points to this step is that the hand must be directly above the power line for the entire step. And another key observation is that the elbow, which is kind of sitting there right in front of the right hip, needs to remain in that position until the hand is pointing straight towards the batter. In effect, you've created a 90-degree angle between your elbow and your forearm. And then at that point, you keep that 90-degree angle as you bring your upper arm up so that your elbow is pointing towards the batter. Through all of the remaining steps, we will be talking a lot about the concept of whip. And so it's very important to get a nice fluid whip at this point, even though it's not really whipping, it's just kind of bending around, but it needs to be nice and fluid, nice and smooth, and relaxed.